Alright, I'm gonna call, okay, you know what? Let's read some journal entries. Um, yeah, we'll call it here after reading some of these. We're not alone. We're not alone, Abraham. My mother used to tell me that often, whenever I felt scared. It would give me an odd sense of belonging, and it was usually enough to stop the tears. It was an old movie from the 1990s. I watched with my parents during those late nights when I couldn't sleep. Encounter was called, but a scientist strive to search for sentient alien life. Mother claimed it was what drove her to become a scientist herself. Mother had been involved in search for extraterrestrial intelligence for a long time. But the world falling apart around us, she never gave up on the belief that contact with other sentient life would radically transform her own behavior and outlook. When Enoch was identified as a planet humanity would migrate to, she studied telescope imagery on Enoch closely. Her diagnosis didn't stop her from trying to identify any sign there might be civilization living there, waiting for us to greet them. Father regarded Mother's project with a kind of patronizing patience. He never objected to her work, but always considered it too fantastical for his tastes, in contrast to what he called more practical pursuits. I remember resenting the fact he never took her seriously, even though he loved her greatly. Losing her hit him hard. But growing older in the war zone, seeing the desperate conditions people lived in, conditions that called for immediate practical solutions, began to understand my father's position more and more. How could searching for extraterrestrials helped us? How could have searching for extraterrestrials helped us fight the anomaly? How could it have put a stop to the war with the insurgents, or helped any other of the myriad problems we faced? It couldn't, and it would have felt irresponsible to do so, but my father's work helped many. I've helped many by continuing his work and may yet be able to save many more. Mother used to say that sometimes science, for the sake of science, can achieve so much more. And now that I met August, I wish I'd believed her. I've almost felt ashamed. What I've seen August do, from calming the anomaly storms to the natives' natural resistance to the fungus. What if I continued my mother's work? What if we made contact with August's people and prevent all the suffering? Still, can't say if any of it wouldn't have been possible. Mother always believed that her encounter with extraterrestrials would have been peaceful, cooperative. In a way, I'm glad she never made it to Enoch. Seeing the truth would have broken her heart. But I'm happy I could finally say she was right. We're not alone. Regrettably, you're relatively are now. August was like the last unturned one, and made the questionable decision of turning. I guess it was to save him, but she just lost all control and semblance. I've tried to recall what it was like to be human, to feel my brow furrow with the worry of how I would. Next morsel of food. To sense the pain in my heart when the human I loved betrayed me. It is all faint memory mirror. No. Insignificant compared to what it means to be altered. Ask myself why these humans concern themselves with trivialities. Can I not see the truth? Can they not? They behave like insects, endlessly meandering back and forth, toiling in the dirt, carrying refuge on their backs. But then I wondered whether I, myself, am that different. Is it that important that I put an end to the existential threat that Moloch poses? What matter if the Outrider fails in the mission? Perhaps it is all vanity, and only entities superior to us can know the full extent of this meaninglessness. He sees himself as above humans, but then it's just like, maybe I'm shit too. Maybe someone's better than me. That's one I haven't read before. When I first... I read that before. I've been going... one sec. I've been going through the few history books I brought with me when we left the valley, when my treatment proved a success. Though I read them too many times, they're somehow able to conceal perspectives within them that only jump out to me on the sixth reading. Of particular interest, a few decades of relative peacetime on Earth, during which most nations flourished, usually on the backs of others, found a significant sentence describing how people acquired food, buried in a larger chapter, but some outlandish notion called consumerism. I found a significant sentence describing how people acquired food, buried in a larger chapter about some outlandish notion termed consumerism. It described how people purchased meat at a market inside a sealed package, already skinned, butchered, drained the blood. Never got to see the animal they were eating. Never had to strike it dead. Never had to dispose of cadavers' affluences. In fact, people balked at the very notion of slaying an animal. I realized as long as you give people what they need, what actually comes to them is something they need never entered the equation. I have solved people's needs so they don't have to look at the truth too closely. I thought it was a goner, but then the strangest thing happened. The storm that I thought would be the end of me just passed, and suddenly I felt like time was frozen. I ran and realized that while everything around me was stopped, only I was moving. Moments later, time resumed and I collapsed from exhaustion. It was obvious now, but it took me some time to realize what I was capable of. Time manipulation. It's helped me escape death more than times than I can count. I've never lost a game of cards since. I can't do it too frequently or for too long, or I'll collapse and start bleeding from my eyes. A few seconds is the best I can do, but a snap of my fingers and a few seconds is all I need. When the time resumes for those around me, all they've seen is a flash. A handful of seconds played out instantly, so fast their brains cannot process it. For all they know, not a second has passed. There was this one guy I tried to screw over and altered. For some reason it didn't work. I realized what I was doing straight away. It would have killed me if he hadn't been distracted by a sudden insurgent attack. I knew better than to stay in the trenches any longer. I met a smuggler who led me to this enclave in the forest. Now I'm back in the business with a different trick. A trick no one will ever notice, and a fortune to be made. It's a new game I call the swap. Ha! I didn't realize he was altered. Oh well, he was a captain, but still. This is the assassin. Oh, the hitman middleman. My father made sure to instill a good work ethic in me. He used to say, Ujo? Ujo, markets are based on two things, supply and demand. To succeed in this business, you must be proactive. Many tortured themselves trying to identify existing gaps in the market to satisfy demand. You must create your own gaps. You must create your own demand. And that is what I did. I walked into ECA headquarters holding the heads of 3 insurgent officers, their names and crimes recorded since the first riots that broke out in the slums of the first city. All I had to do was walk into insurgent territory, dressed in their uniform, and take them out quietly. The insurgents wisened up since then, but news of my feat spread. Eventually, I even had insurgent contracts in my hands. As the good strategist said, opportunities multiply as they are seized. Of course, the ECA was never to know. One day I received a contract for a particularly disliked captain in the ECA. Considering a few bullets to the back of the head while the captain slept will look suspicious, convinced him that another insurgent captain had challenged him to a duel, a one-on-one on neutral ground near the outskirts of First City. I guided him to the location precisely noon 12. God, he rolled a 12 on charm. Later that day, I arrived at ECA several. That should be. I bribed several ECA artillery officers with a week's worth of ration cards for a concentrated volley on the same coordinates at the same time. Captain never returned, and I got a taste for what it's like to not have to dirty my hands. Several years later, I found myself sitting in a grimy bar with my reputation doing most of the heavy lifting for me. After a close brush with one alter too many, I decided to finally settle down and stay away from devils like that. Speaking of devils, here comes one now, and an outrider at that. Zahedi's report on Senate Letter. 1, 2, 3. Grand Marshal Gutman, I've no way of ensuring this communique will ever reach you, but I feel it's important to at least keep contemporaneous notes in case of my premature death. I need to inform you that of great concerns about the altered you put in charge of our mission. This outrider, this ex-mercenary's actions as of late have caused me to fear a capacity for rashness that does not bode well for future leadership. I took issue. Today, the outrider killed a fellow scientist in cold blood. Brilliant chemists who'd solved the problem our best had struggled with for most of our history on this planet. We should remember his name, Dr. Nathan Scurlock, the man responsible for creating a treatment for the fungus and opening the force of humanity. That said, I must admit the doctor's methods were disturbed. Although he sacrificed a few to save many and seemed to conduct his choice of victim in a most fair way, there's still no question that he considered cure success despite needing to kill for it. And yes, I must admit, his death lottery selected me for next victim, and he had no compunction about sacrificing my life for his cure. Must admit as well that it had not been for Outrider's timely rescue, I would not have been here to write these notes. And from the Outrider's point of view, I'm sure it was a clear win killing off the mad scientist, preventing the mission failure that would have resulted from my death. The Outrider did what heroes do, but is it what leaders do? The man was a scientist and there's so few of us left. But again, that being said, I'm alive because of this Outrider. Perhaps I judge too harshly. Perhaps I should only be grateful. Need to say my emotions are quite complex and conflicted. If one day this communique ever reaches you, Grand Marshal Gutman, Know this, despite my doubts, I will continue to follow the Outrider you've bestowed upon this mission upon. If there is one doubt I do not have, it is the Outrider's ability to see this mission to its end. Yeah, again, I was thinking that the guy could be beneficial to keep alive. Kind of just steal him away. Kind of like Hannibal Lecter you draw out for research. Just says the same thing she said. And Storm of Bullets, that's a reference. Media books. Hack Magazine represents novel by Nicholas. Can't see the full name. I can kind of see a name there. I could have easily be a reference, but I'm not sure. Never got to find one of those. Here follows an account of the native peoples that once lived on Enoch, based on my best deciphering of their hieroglyphics. It appears that the mysterious force we now call the anomaly is not a new phenomenon. In recording of their history, it seems the natives' early existence was also threatened by violent storms and bizarre phenomenon issuing from the energies that surrounds and permeates Enoch. The population was devastated and driven underground, where it seems they survived in caves while storms raged. How it is they ever came to build villages above ground, I cannot yet hypothesize. At some point, something changed in the natives' relationship with the anomaly. Using strange obelisks like the one observed in the forest, they apparently discovered a method to commune with the energies and calm the storms, which is more we could understand from the engravings, how the natives were able to achieve such powers. What seems evident is the obelisks themselves predate them. These seem to have been built by their ancestors, or perhaps another species altogether. How they came to understand their use remains a mystery. Regardless, one thing is clear. It seems that to have taken the participation of many natives together to work the rituals around the obelisk and harness the storms. Although we saw that August was capable of manipulating the storm alone, it seems like the effort nearly killed the native. Such effort should not be taken lightly. I didn't even notice that it was by Zahidi. I was thinking it was by previous people. Over the years, it seems the natives went from being the anomaly's slave to its master. Must use the obelisk to draw energy out of the sky back into the planet, effectively neutralizing its deadly effects and preventing storms from occurring. Seems that's how, in time, they were able to return to surface and civilization began anew. Discovery helped the natives survive their extinction and emerge from their primitive beginnings. Perhaps it's communing with Enoch's energies that gave them supernatural abilities we witnessed in August. Perhaps there's a link that could be drawn between August's abilities, the anomaly, and the abilities of the Altered. But all we know for sure is that this time balance and harmony did not last. Natives appear to be gone, and grotesque feral savages have taken over their lands, and as we know, the anomaly is back and grows more powerful every year. An amendment to my writing of the natives of Enoch follows, sourced from fragments of writing done by humans that I now know come to Enoch aboard the Caravel. The Caravel's landing, a mass of natives flocked to the ship, journeying from villages far and wide. Humans were met by a growing throng of beings who, bearing no weapons, showed no ill intent, and freely offered food, water, and any other resource the colonists required. The humans granted a name to the seemingly primitive and entirely pacifistic species, the Pax. Humans and Pax lived in peace for a time. All that changed when Roy and his followers realized the power that the Pax possessed. The powers the Pax possess. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Oh, let me check Discord. Someone may have messaged me. No, they didn't. Good. Just the corp. One person, for me to get my retriever down to the corpse space, I was going to need a Titan bridge. Sadly, I'm only going to get to bring down my retriever and not anything else, but, yeah. Well, my retriever, some blueprints, some scrap, but I'm not going to get to bring down my Ishtar, which is what I really wanted. Well, I would like to fight some rats while I'm there, but we do what we can. Relentless Behemoth. Among the creatures that reign supreme over the most of Eagle Peaks, this behemoth managed to establish his own territory in the rocks and ice, relentless even in the extreme cold. The relentless behemoth learned how to navigate the difficult terrain of these mountains, and how to hunt prey and protect the carcass from the vultures that would steal it. It was observed to take advantage of skirmishes between ECA and insurgent forces, quickly leaping to catch them unawares. leaping in to catch him unawares, grabbing a few soldiers in its maw at once before escaping back to its lair to feed its young. This creature made its den near the sacred monument in the ancient ruins. It may have grown complacent and fat while engorging itself within the safe confines of the monument's walls, but it was no less deadly for it, and no less enraged to find a drop pod had breached its domain. Living in such a remote region, practically locked in a tower, he found naming it very easily. Unfortunately for the Duchess, you arrived before the knight in shining armor. But yeah, the guy to the bottom left of my thing looks far too much like the Outrider. Let's see this guy. This guy. There's differences, but I just keep seeing him. Wasteland Behemoth, Cow smaller. There's more? Huh. Okay, it seems like these will appear via the expeditions, I guess. Oh, Jesus Christ. I've stopped again. 1, 2, 3. A towering creature that appears to lead the Pharaohs. Pharaohs do not seem to be entirely mindless beasts, like the rest of the monsters encountered in Enoch, and the warlord stands most cunning among them, evident by the trap he laid for you and your crew. Yagak abducted your companions and killed Jacob. You were able to defeat him, but he fled before you could finish him off. It didn't seem like he had fled, initially. I thought we had killed him. But maybe I might be forgetting a bit of the cutscene. Encountering the warlord or these creatures in the desert for the second time suggests he is tracking you. Seeing him standing next to an anomaly, you weren't sure if the warlord was praying to the storm or conjuring it. Yagak and his army attacked the caravel as Zahedi was trying to call down the force pods, went out to meet the Grand Warlord in combat. The sheer rage and anomaly energy coursing through Yagak reached its zenith as he battled them. He defeated the Grand Warlord and forced his remaining foes to flee. I'm just looking at people that are of interest. Oh, he was missing. Huh. I thought he was just straight out dead, but no. He does look kind of cool. Just the coat, the beard. Leader of a group of humans of unknown origin, Monroy ordered the building of this fort as a base to launch recon missions with the aim of revealing the Pharaoh's movements and origins. There's no indication if the recon missions were successful, but certain is Monroy and his people were attacked by the Pharaohs while in the fort. When he was slain, the rest forced retreat, though it's unclear whether that retreat was successful, whether Monroy fell or was able to escape. As he looked upon Monroy's palace, his face painted on the threadbare flags that adorned its walls, the ashes of his bloody empire tossed by the wind, he realized the man was not any kind of savior. His brutal tyrant who enslaved the Pax murdered him from fear of powers he did not understand, tried to exterminate them when they sacrificed their very souls to fight back. He was the harbinger of the anomaly. He caused the storm that struck you on your first day on Enoch The cause of the storm that struck you on your first day on Enoch that can now clearly be traced all the way back to Monroy, when his subjugation pacts prevented them from keeping the storms in check. It was the actions ordered by Monroy and his people against the pacts that denied all who arrived on the SM force a chance to rebuild, a chance for a better life. You found Monroy inside the caravel, the last survivor of his people. Instead of the vestige of the bloodthirsty authoritarian you painted, saw painted on the flags of his palace, you saw an old, fragile man, driven to near madness by solitude, living in his own filth. After all these years, Monroy remained unrepentant. He insisted all he did was for the good of his people, save them from the threat of the Praxis powers, give humanity those same powers. He claimed victory for his cause when he saw you wielding those powers. If not for the anomalous sword seen unleashed, would you have ever become an altered? Shauna shot him in the head, finally ending his reign of terror. To be fair, his reign of terror ended long ago. August is a native of Enoch, seemingly capable of understanding human speech and even communicating, somewhat. You felt an eerie connection to the creature when it focused its mystic attention on you. Native disappeared shortly after you freed him from Skurrock's dungeon, leaving you and your crew with a million questions. August was discovered by Tiago near the ancient ruins and grew close to him, learning his language. But August was captured by Kang's fighters shortly after and shackled in Skurrock's lab, where the doctor experimented on Native, trying to discover how August was immune to the fungus. After August's escape, you found Native amongst the ancient ruins, conducting some kind of ritual next to the obelisk. August's effect somehow calmed the anomaly storm, saving you and the crew from it. August's pacifist nature has always prevented Native from committing violence. He could not resist when attacked by Bailey in the ancient ruins at Forest, and hid when the convoy was ambushed by Ferals in the cave. It's general here, but they only here they stipulate August as a him. There's a little gender distinction between them. Would have kind of had to have stripped her and searched, and even then they could have different genitals. The whole chromosome system could be different. Human sexing might be completely irrelevant. Like, fuck, look at seahorses. Apparently the male ones carry the kids. You know, it's different. In the village, you learned this was once August's home and believed it was taken over by Ferals. When the monsters attacked in the canyons, however, you discovered a true connection between the packs and the Ferals. As Take was pinned down by a monster, was about to have his throat ripped out, August did the only thing the being's nature permitted. Native stepped in front of a giant obelisk, extracted a shard, and transformed into a feral. A feral August fought off the monsters that threatened Tiego's life, but in this wild bestial, raging state, August could not distinguish friend from foe and began attacking Tiego. No choice but to kill August. August must have known this would happen. August knew this sacrifice was the only way to save Tiego's life. The natives laid to rest at the entrance to the canyons. Inscrutable and enigmatic, he found the Wanderer in the forest. He cannot discern his allegiances, though the Wanderer seems to know more than he should, or than seems possible. He is particularly interested in the obelisk, so he will not disclose why. After learning he's in fact altered, you encountered the Wanderer again, inside the canyons. He claims he's victim of his powers, and they've clearly had some part to play in the deterioration of his mental condition. He continues speaking riddles, and persists in believing the Pax obelisks provide the answers he seeks. The Wanderer reveals his true origins as second-in-command of Monroy's army. The Wanderer was complicit in their subjugation and subsequent extermination. In Monroy's attempt to seize the Wanderer was complicit in their subjugation and subsequent extermination. Monroy's attempt to seize the powers of the Pax for himself. Overcome with guilt for what he'd done, he wandered off into the desert wanting to die. Instead, an anomaly storm turned him into an altered. Unable to find solace in death, he has ever since sought redemption, trying to find a way to undo the destruction he wrought. Again, all the other altered seem to suffer immensely from their transformation, but we seem immune. So, it's odd. Maybe it's because we're protagonist man, but I don't know. Let's give it a try. $40,000 drop pod resources? I could only hope we get a lot of loot. Because early on, we're not getting very much. Okay, let's try this again. But yeah, early on, we're not getting much. I can only hope as we go on, the drops get heavier. Especially if we want to buy any of the legendary gear the other guy sells.
Energy spikes in insurgent territory near the old chemical plant. Last thing I can afford is those monsters generating more power. I need you to disable their operation. Push your way through the slums, reach that chemical plant, and terminate any bastard you find.
She cut herself off. Also, how aren't the pods being vandalized by the storms? Or they sheltered, or the storms just not kicking off? Have the storms just ended for some reason? Like, that canyon we're camped out in doesn't seem very secure. Storm-wise. Yeah, you don't get to live. So yeah, these enemies are now higher level than any we fought thus far. Yeah, they're level 40. No one I'd met thus far was level 40, to my knowledge. Fuck! Aha! Yep. Juking and jiving. You group them up as much as possible. Blitz them with the bubble. That being said, if I found a better thing than the bubble, I would be happy to switch away from that power. I'm not a fan of having to shoot it extra or the, like, basically the delay. If it could happen itself, that would probably be the best, but it just hits so heavy, you know? I don't know how they can, well, actually, it's probably anomaly abilities or something. Well, just like, how do you use artillery inside? The hand flare. The hand mortar. 4chan strikes again. See, I killed all those guys, and I think I only had to reload once. The thing can work well. Also do like it just instantly refreshes the thing. Gets rid of it for me, but it just doesn't even, it isn't even put on the cooldown. Do it. Do it. Haha. Oh, hey, I didn't even realize this room was so large. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Ah. Yeah, you die now. Did he just take damage from it? No, no, it must have been the he took damage from someone's grenade. Jesus! I could take an eye out with that. Or a head off, maybe. There's occasionally benefit in the delay that that weapon provides. And that explosive thing provides. Sometimes a benefit in it. Sometimes. Ooh, whammo! Sometimes it's handy, sometimes not. There's an insane amount of enemies in these. They're really just like, you know what, this is endgame. Have everyone.
Damn it. More of them.
Wait, what? Shit, they can teleport. They can force teleport me.
Elevator in this lab.
Yeah, that matches our blueprints for the plant. The elevator should lead to the heart of the facility.
All I'm missing is some elevator music. Whatever that thing is, that switch should disable it.
I'm gone. Got a burning off.
Whoa.
Don't know what he was saying there.
Shira, about those energy spikes? The insurgents had a functioning power cell down here.
What did you do with it?
It's disabled. I'll see if Zahidi can't take a look at it. And I found a pod down here.
You saved some lives today, Outrider. I would expect nothing less from you.
Wow, jeez. I just had to save the fucking world to suddenly have her be somewhat cheery. Jesus. Expectations. Okay, if there was... What the hell? I don't recognize the one that's strung up over there. I think it's Behemoth. Okay, if these were sealed in here, what the fuck? Like, how the hell does this work? They must have found a way in, but I don't see a tunnel. Also, how did that one end up strung up? The headset won't stop kinking. Sorry, the feeling of that in my ear is pissing me off. Because I can feel the fabric rubbing off each other. Ah, damn. A little too slow. Just hit silver. Okay, how did the pod get down here? Okay, I could believe it. Okay, maybe, you know, the other guys brought it down here. Sure. But then where do the enemies come in? Like, how the hell did he get in here? Like, how the hell didn't they starve? You know, what's the logistics going on here? Why was that one strung up? It looks like people experimented on it. Tortured it. I hope some of this is explained. Could have been an ECA base for a bit. Oh yeah. In the intricate social systems that govern peripheral hierarchy, there appears to be an elder broodmother known as a matron. The beast somehow found its way into the old chemical plant and has been trapped there ever since. It's likely that after abandoning the area, the broodmother made its lair here. When the insurgents moved in to restart the facility, they sealed it off in an isolated section, but suffered terrible pain and disfigurement from the chemicals that lined this place. Okay. Though I don't know why the pod ended up in here. If the pod is how they got that going again, it doesn't make sense. And what the fuck is that?
Outrider detected. Access granted.
Ooh, legendary. Legendary. Never did meet a Space Legion. Yes, and 4 spent 83 years in deep space before arriving in Enoch's orbit. Nothing there. Ooh, the bulwark. Ultimate bleeding shots. That would that would perfect this. Every second rather than every 4. So constantly I could bleed enemies. I think I'm gonna have to dismantle this. Still got 19. Trespasser's armor. Player can't die while inside the slow trap. Damage mitigation. 40% less damage. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Trespasser set. Unless I can get a set for Twisted Shot. That's nice. Hell yeah. Here, one sec. 1, 2, 3. Bailey. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Bonus firepower, close range damage, cooldown reduction. Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh yeah. Can't just spam click. Yo. Okay. I've raised everything up to 40 or 41, so I'm a little in better condition. One thing I'm thinking is there's 5 armor slots and sets require 3 for the bonus, meaning you can have 2 outside this set. Almost not a fan of that. You know? Because I could only benefit from one thing, so I may want to boost the slow trap, that's nice. But I would also kind of like to boost twisted rounds, so I really have to make a choice, and I would just like to have great, I would just like to have good shit. Oh, the drop palace is gone. Drop pod's been seen plunging through the sky above the pack city. The throws have been converging on the Colosseum, so it's like a safe assumption that it landed there. Do it.
matter that calls for your skills, Outrider. Our scouts have spotted a group of ferals gathering in the Colosseum, deep inside the Pack City. Perhaps it's worth investigating.
Colosseum. Why would the Pax have a Colosseum? That doesn't make sense. Maybe it was more of a grand amphitheater. Of a fitting size to convert for more blood sports. Clear the scum. You know, that's the most insulting it's ever been. You know, it's always like, kill the bandits, do this, do that. It's never, kill the scum. Whoop. It's gonna be all the easier for me to sustain 100% uptime on this thing now, with me able to cast bleed every second. The only issue now will be actually killing enemies. Not killing them when the bleed isn't up or anything like that, because bleed's always going to be up from shooting them. Boom. I think that killed a few. Still not sure why they have ammo in them, but sure, we'll go with it. I think I was expecting them to jump. Together as like a swarm. Oh, well done. He tried to roar at me, but he just, well, didn't make any sound, and I shot him in the mouth. Well done. We're clearly dealing with the best and the brightest. Oh! Jesus. Do it, do it. Do it! Give me health. Physician, give thy life to heal me. Damn it. Stun didn't work on the beast. No. Don't need to. I've done a good job at sustaining myself. Yeah, and I'm glad I realized this was even an option.
This must be the Colosseum.
Why would the Paxi even have had this? These people knew no violence, no nothing. It wouldn't make sense for them to have it. Was it something the other guy had built? Because there's no real mention of grand architectural, architecture going on under him. Him saving them in the field, sure, but not this. So yeah, I'm just generally puzzled at this. I was really hoping we'll get an explanation. Well, sorry, I'm really hoping we'll get an explanation. We could still yet. Huh? What those side doors are opening about. More will probably rush from there now in a sec. There we go! Kill! So when I was saying that these have the same silhouette, I'm not accusing them of being a rip-off or something stupid. It just throws me looking at them because I keep thinking of a different game. Oh, maybe the Pax didn't build this. Remember, they called it a sacred city. Maybe it was the previous people who built this. And maybe they weren't so peaceful. Like, remember the previous people built the obelisks. We only know of the Pax as the only other sentient, sapient, whatever, being on the planet. That's not to say, and there's hinted at there's being older ones or something. You know, perfectly possible that one of them built it. Also notice it's using this for the doors rather than the normal other thing. You know, the palm print thing.
Who the hell are you?
Okay, it annoys me that you hear squeak, squeak. Damn it! Whoa! It'd be great if I could get an additional bleed. Well, bleed bonuses. Possibly. Yeah, maybe the Pharaohs built this. Then again, would they be capable of that? I thought they were just commandeering the old architecture. Yeah, it seems the only time that I run out of ammo now is if I just focus all my time on shooting a boss, and I can kill a little bit faster. Whoop.
I think that's the last of the monsters, but that maniac isn't too happy about it. Here we go.
Yeah, I didn't kill these quick enough. Still, it's a multi-tiered system. I'll get something. I do feel like it's tiered towards multiple players, maybe. Damn it! Jesus.
My friend, you cannot let them get the better of you.
Born on the planet of the children of Enoch. The anomaly energy that permeates the desert is drawn in a number of deadly creatures, this imposing broodmother among them. No other creature of theirs ventured near, likely because they realize they're dealing with the brood queen. Perhaps the mother of all Perfero, to whom the other broodmothers bow to. Fittingly, the queen appears to have taken over the region, established its queendom in an area resembling an old palace, at least as palatial as the Perfero hive can be. Doesn't really make sense. It was actually taken prisoner and stuck in a oh, that got cut off. But it was taken prisoner and stuck into a Colosseum.
I'm sensing.
Oh, damn. Wasted so many resources on the other thing. Yeah, I'm back down to far too well. Scrap grenade. Wow, sex up to 8 times? That's insane. Ooh, trespasses breaches. It's for a time rift. Oh.
Outrider, you gave me the opportunity.
Zahidi told us everything. About the caravan, Monroy, the packs. Whatever happens now, we're with you, Outrider.
Good. It seems kind of like we almost have our own faction now. So, like, yeah, we may have thrown our lot tied in with other groups, but, you know, seems like we're kind of standing on our own, if you get me. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. As word of your travels and adventures spread throughout the war zone and forest, many took heart, hearing stories of the Outrider pushing the frontier, just as the Outriders were meant to all those years ago. As you opened the way forward to the signal, unbeknownst to you, a growing group of pilgrims were following your trail, believing in the legend of the Outriders. Next to the wreck of the caravel as the pods fell from the sky, the pilgrims finally caught up with you. For the first time in your memory, you looked upon people's faces and saw hope. The pilgrims now looked to the future, ready and willing to lend their aid to your cause. Monroy is chosen. Led by Commander Monroy, the caravel must have departed Earth sometime after the forest, yet reached Enoch first. Colonists aboard were likely among the most cutthroat, brutal people from Earth, necessarily so. Earning a place by Monroy's caravel was a matter of might, not merit. A small number among the colonists that worked as engineers and scientists were brought on for their expertise, rather than their savagery. But their descent was evidently not enough to stop those more than happy to follow Monroy's orders in subjugated packs, unable to foresee that how this only ensured their doom. The surviving caravel's colonists barricaded themselves inside their ship and had been broadcasting a call for aid for the last 31 years, hoping the SM force would eventually come to their rescue and save them from the ferals, but help never arrived. Over time they realized their food would not last forever. They killed each other in what likely turned into a treacherous battle royale, all to minimize the number of mouths they would need to feed, and prolong their supplies. You found their very last survivor and once commander, Hernando Monroy, leader of none, now lost to the desert like the rest of his people. Had you or Jacob or any of your fellow mercenaries been left on Earth after Forrest's departure, it's not unlikely that you may have joined Monroy's ranks instead of the Outriders, to fight for a way off the planet. So I guess in a sense, you know, we could have been, wasn't entirely wrong. It's just, there's a weird anomalies happening. Why couldn't there have been weird time shit going on? You know? But anyway, I'm gonna call this here. Till then, love and peace. I may start poking again at other series, but I'll try and come back to this. It's just, I'm hitting a bit of a wall here, and it does feel like it's almost very much geared for co-op. Not sure. I'll work something out.